Well, this is a big development that is now coming in as far as President Donald Trump's decision to raise tariffs on India that was aimed at discouraging Russia from continuing its war in the Ukraine. What is now being said that the move was designed to put secondary pressure on Moscow as far as when it comes to Donald Trump, which has effectively doubled India's tariff percent to 50% by adding extra 25% on top of the earlier 25% levy, with also an additional penalty which is unspecified. However, when it comes to the action on India, is said to be secondary pressure to put on Moscow when it comes to India being one of the consumers other than multiple other countries as well, which continue to purchase Russian oil.
The president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end. And he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Well, let's get in a word from Srinjoy now. Srinjoy, good morning. Why is that India is now being pressured, Srinjoy? Things seems to be going pretty well. As far as his meeting with Putin that happened, there is a trilateral that is now also expected. Why is India being pressured?
This is diplomacy which is very, very unpredictable and also difficult to understand, because here you are putting 50% tariff because India is buying Russian oil. Okay, we understand. Then what happens to China? Why aren't you putting pressure on China? Because China buys more Russian oil than any other country. Now, this is the first problem. Secondly, if America is having such good ties with Russia and Putin himself comes to Alaska and there is talk of the war coming to an end, then why continue with the tariff? So these are questions that perhaps only one man can answer, the president himself, because this puts pressure on India, it puts pressure on the relationship that India and America have, and this is not just a relationship, it's a strategic partnership. It has been called the most significant strategic partnership of this century, and this is being damaged because India is buying Russian oil.
And because India has also called out on the set, double standards and hypocrisy, as you mentioned, China as well. China, however, as far as when it comes to closer ties with India is concerned, has Donald Trump actually played a catalyst?
As far as China is concerned, yes, Prime Minister is going to China. Yes, that is really part of the SCO summit, but with China, regardless of the recent talks between Ajit Doval and Wang Yi, it must be remembered that the border problem is yet to be sorted out. Regardless of what the Chinese say, the border problem remains. The other thing that India is very well aware of are Chinese military supplies to Pakistan, and during those 4 days of Operation Sindoor, the support, the intelligence support that China gave to Pakistan. Now, these things have not changed. Now, sure, India's relation with China in recent days have improved. You can say that after the Wang Yi visit. But China's close ties with Pakistan, military ties, intelligence ties, economic ties, have remained the same.
Yes. As far as when it comes to Wang Yi is concerned, he is also expected to visit Pakistan after his India visit, but has extended a formal invitation to the Prime Minister for the upcoming SCO summit. Let's get a word from Mr. Fabian, who's connected with us. Mr. Fabian, good morning, sir. When we speak of these sanctions that have been imposed by the United States on India, main reason what is being said is not to target India directly, but indirectly add pressure on Russia so that India can stop purchasing oil from Russia.
Thank you. Good morning. I cannot think of an argument which is more absurd, because the same person, this is Treasury Secretary, he says that India was importing such a small percentage of its oil from Russia before the war, and now it is 40%, whereas China was importing, if I remember right, say 14%, now it is 18%. In other words, China's increase was not dramatic, and therefore India has to be punished. As we all know, China is importing more. And sorry to say, the level of argumentation by the Trump administration is so low in logic and so inconsistent that it gives us much entertainment, but at the same time, this is a serious matter because these sanctions do hurt us. So this matter has to be resolved as early as possible.
Absolutely, because there would be an imminent fallout as far as why is India being single-handedly targeted and sidelined by a friend of Donald Trump and the United States. Thank you very much, Mr. Fabian, for your point of view. When it comes to President Donald Trump's decision to raise tariffs on India, that was actually aimed at discouraging Russia from continuing its war in Ukraine. That has been the statement coming in from the White House press secretary.
The president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end. And he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Right, but Srinjoy, when we look at the situation that seems to be progressing for now, will Trump now soften his stand towards India?
We have to see what the president decides, because as is widely believed, the president is unpredictable, and the American policy as a result has become inconsistent. India would expect that as a close strategic partner, America would not do what it has done, because this is going to hurt India's industries, notably garments, gems and jewelry, refineries, and so on. A lot of damage can result from this. But the point is that when America does this, it also tries to destroy or at least damage this strong partnership these two countries have built in the last 27 years or so. Now, is America ready to damage this partnership with India? Does the president know that this is happening? Now, unless there is a clear understanding of South Asian policy or policy towards Asia, or the situation vis-a-vis India and China and Pakistan and so on, only then can America get a clear picture, because these things appear very arbitrary. You suddenly have 25%, then suddenly it's 50%, and then maybe it will be less. But is this a level of consistency? That is something the Americans should ask themselves.
All right. With these developments that are now coming in, as far as when it comes to India's stand and position is concerned, it has now been said that this was a kind of a secondary pressure, an indirect pressure that was built on India so that India would stop buying and purchasing Russian oil and energy. But as far as the situation that seems to be developing, it remains to be seen how, unpredictable Donald Trump with his statement have been. Will it actually lead to softening its stand against, as far as India, when it comes to 50% being the highest tariff line that has been put on India, and also within unspecified penalty that has been imposed? That also remains to be seen. But while, Srinjoy, India continues to push for a trade deal with the United States, this is also coming at a time when backdoor talks and diplomacy has also been taking place till the time that we actually look at the additional 25% tariff that will come into effect.
Yes, of course. Of course, there are discussions going on. Of course, there are people in America who want this trade deal with India. About this, there is no doubt.
Clear that he wants to see this war end.
If you're going to have a trade deal, then you cannot be with this 50% tariff on India's shoulders.
Meantime, let's listen in once again as far as the statement that is now coming in from the White House over when it comes to the move that is now said to be designed to put secondary pressure on Moscow. That has been the explanation coming in from the United States. Let's get in a word from Pathikrit Payne that also connected with us. Pathikrit, good morning. What is your understanding as far as Donald Trump's decision to raise tariffs on India that was actually aimed at discouraging Russia from continuing its war with Ukraine?
Well, I think, if you tell a lie 1,000 times, you start believing it yourself, if not others. That is exactly what is happening in this case. I mean, this war is, first of all, far from over. The kind of conditions that Russia has put in, that there will be no European NATO, presence as part of the security guarantee in Ukraine. The condition that, Ukraine will have to give up the land that on which the Russians have already conquered, the conditions that there cannot be any arming of Ukraine, and several others. This war is far from over. Eventually, what is pretty clear, the way the European NATO country leaders went to United States as if guarding their Zelensky so that he doesn't get humiliated again, as it happened in February, the way they were pleading with Trump, it appears that Putin is actually, having the edge and having the upper hand. These people would not have gone and pleaded for ceasefire or conditions had NATO been winning the war against, or had Ukraine been winning the war against Russia. So I think first of all, war is far from over. Secondly, I think the reason why Russia doesn't respond to these statements, why India doesn't respond to these statements, I think these are civilizational nation states. They don't look for victories every day. Russia is a far more mature country. It might be in terms of GDP much, much smaller than the United States. And I think many people in the United States themselves don't believe in what Trump is saying. So I think this charade will continue for quite some time till a situation arises.
Yes. However, so far some progress that has been made on account of ending the war once and for all, as that seems to be the theme when it comes to lasting peace, not ceasefire when it comes to the talks that happened in the Washington recently. Thank you very much, Pathikrit, for your point of view.